My dad refused to walk me down the aisle if I didn't invite his precious daughter who slept with my ex. So I refused to back down and asked my grandpa to walk me down the aisle instead. My father has always blamed me for my mother's death during childbirth. While my older sister Mary became his golden child who could do no wrong, I spent my childhood doing every household chore, being constantly ignored, and carrying guilt for something completely beyond my control. The breaking point came during a Thanksgiving visit when my sister met my then boyfriend of 2 years. Mary flirted shamelessly with him all night, constantly touching his arm, leaning into his personal space, calling him gorgeous while putting me down by saying she never thought her ugly duckling sister would land someone like him. When I pulled her aside and asked her to stop, she laughed in my face and called me pathetically jealous. That night, I went to bed early, emotionally and physically exhausted by the blatant disrespect in my own family's home. My boyfriend said he'd come up soon, but never did. The next morning, I found him in Mary's bed, both half naked with 2 empty wine bottles and glasses scattered on the floor. Mary's reaction when I caught them? Zero apology. She had the audacity to tell me to get out of her room so she can get dressed, like I was invading her privacy. Then she spent weeks bragging to our cousins about stealing my man in one night and claimed he told her she was way better in bed than me. Dad's response when I told him what happened? They're both adults. You should have been more careful about the kind of man you brought around Mary. He obviously has loose character. That's on you for not seeing it. He actually blamed me for bringing a cheater around his precious daughter as if Mary was some innocent victim instead of an active participant who pursued my boyfriend all night. I cut contact with both of them immediately. For 3 years, I refused all communication. Then Dad had a major heart attack. Despite everything, I stepped up to help him recover. I paid medical bills his insurance wouldn't cover, hired a caretaker, and made sure he had everything during his 2-month recovery. Mary visited twice and contributed nothing financially. Her excuse was her part-time retail job didn't pay enough. During recovery, Dad's eyes finally opened. He saw who actually cared versus who expected to be taken care of. For the first time, he apologized and acknowledged how wrong he'd been to excuse Mary's betrayal. We started rebuilding our relationship slowly. Phone calls became regular. He seemed genuinely remorseful and wanted to make amends. So when I got engaged to Jesse, a kind, loyal man who treats me like I deserve, I decided Dad had earned the right to walk me down the aisle. Our relationship seemed to be healing, and I wanted him there for such an important moment. But Dad had one non-negotiable condition. Mary had to be invited too. She's changed, he insisted. She deserves a second chance. Has she apologized? I asked. You shouldn't pester her for an apology. Let bygones be bygones. I put my foot down. No apology, no invitation. Dad's ultimatum was swift. If Mary isn't invited, I won't attend either. And I won't walk you down the aisle. He tried to guilt me, saying their absence would cause gossip and reflect poorly on me. Instead of caving, I disinvited him completely. I asked my paternal grandfather to walk me down the aisle instead. Grandpa immediately agreed and expressed his disappointment in Dad's behavior. He'd always known about the favoritism and blame Dad placed on me. My wedding day was beautiful. Grandpa walked me down the aisle with pride, and we celebrated with people who truly cared about my happiness. But the real shock came during the reception. Grandpa stood up and made an announcement. He was gifting me his vacation house as a wedding present. Out of my son and granddaughters, he said, you're the one who truly appreciates family and will cherish this place. Dad had always assumed he'd inherit everything as Grandpa's only child, including that vacation house. When Dad found out about the wedding and the gift, he lost it completely. He called me screaming, saying he couldn't believe I'd gone through with it without him. What really sent him over the edge was losing the inheritance he'd counted on. Now Dad and Mary are furious, demanding I return the house to him and claiming it's his legal right as the heir. Mary's been calling me an opportunist who manipulated Grandpa's generosity. Dad's favoritism and ultimatums didn't just cost him his daughter's wedding. They cost him the inheritance he was counting on.